Today, we're diving into, well, a pretty ambitious strategic blueprint for constitutional reform. It involves a rarely used mechanism, the Article V Convention.
Right, and our sources really frame this as a kind of constitutional imperative for change.
An imperative. Why now?
Because, they argue, there's this profound political gridlock at the federal level. It's basically stalled the usual ways of amending the Constitution.
Okay, so the mission for us here is to understand how this state-driven approach could work, specifically aiming for big reforms on the Second and First Amendments.
Exactly. High-impact reforms driven from the states up.
So let's unpack Article V. Most people know the congressional route for amendments, but this state convention path, it's described as largely dormant. How does that actually work?
Okay, so there are two tracks. The one we're talking about gets triggered if 2/3 of the state legislatures, that's 34 states, apply for a convention.
34 states? And then what?
Then Congress doesn't really have a choice. It's obligated, constitutionally obligated to call a convention.
A convention of states, essentially.
Yes. And then any amendments proposed by that convention still need to be ratified. And that takes 3/4 of the states, so 38 states.
Wow, okay, so 34 to call it, 38 to ratify anything that comes out of it. And the logic is, this is a way around Washington gridlock.
Precisely. It's pitched as a direct strategic response to what our sources call federal political paralysis. It makes the states the primary engine for constitutional change.
Which brings us to the why. Why these amendments? Let's start with the second, ratified back in 1791. The sources suggest it's insufficient now.
That's the argument, that its current interpretation, shaped centuries ago, is seen as insufficient to permit the level of regulation necessary to deal with modern gun violence, specifically high-casualty shootings. It's a long way from musket.
A very long way. And the First Amendment, it predates the entire digital age.
Exactly, by over 2 centuries. And this creates what the sources term a legal vacuum. Digital speech ends up kind of vulnerable without clear, explicit protection.
So the goal is to write protections in for things like...
For digital communications, online platforms, even algorithmic systems. Basically, updating free speech for the internet era.
Okay, let's get specific. The proposed changes for the Second Amendment sound like a fundamental shift, not just tinkering. What's the language?
It's a huge change. Instead of shall not be infringed, the proposal is shall be subject to such regulations as Congress and the states may enact to promote the public safety, health, and welfare.
So moving from a right that can't be infringed to one that can be regulated for public safety.
Right. And it explicitly grants power to regulate specific classes of weapons. This would effectively nullify major precedents like District of Columbia v. Heller.
That's the case establishing an individual right to bear arms for self-defense. So this wipes that out, potentially.
It aims to. It would allow for much, much broader gun regulation than is currently permissible under Heller. For you, this means a significant shift in the balance between individual rights and public safety regulation.
And the First Amendment changes, expanding, not just clarifying.
Yes, explicit expansion, including digital communication and expression via electronic networks and algorithmic systems. Even the right to assemble gets updated to include physically or virtually.
Virtually. Interesting. And there's something about algorithms, too.
Yeah, a new clause. It basically says government can't force or restrain the design of algorithms or AI, but with narrowly tailored exceptions to prevent specific harms, like incitement or illegal stuff.
This is a massive political lift.
Yeah.
How do proponents plan to actually get this through? What's the strategy and what are the dangers?
Well, the strategy involves what they call bipartisan packaging. The idea is to link the gun regulation, which might appeal more to one side with expanded digital speech rights, potentially appealing to the other, build a broad coalition.
A political balancing act. But the risks?
The biggest one always mentioned is the runaway convention. The fear that delegates, once convened, might just propose amendments on anything, not just the agreed-upon topics.
If they really do that, go off script.
That's the fear. The mitigation strategy is pushing states to make their applications single issue, but the legal ground for that is murky, as our sources put it. There's no guarantee Congress or the convention itself would respect those limits.
So it could open Pandora's box?
Potentially. It's a significant risk.
And this isn't something expected to happen overnight. The sources talk about a long game.
Very much so. This is framed as a multi-decade, meticulously planned campaign. They're projecting like 8 to 15 years.
8 to 15 years. That needs incredible, sustained, disciplined action, as they say, staying focused for that long through different political cycles.
Indeed. It requires building institutions and coalitions that can last, a truly generational effort, if it's to succeed.
So wrapping up, an Article V convention is clearly a formidable undertaking, lots of challenges, huge risks. But it's presented as maybe the most powerful, constitutionally legitimate way forward when Congress is gridlocked.
Which leaves a big question for you, the listener. Could this state-driven path actually work? Could it be a kind of powerful safety valve for a deeply divided nation and truly reshape American law for the 21st century?